This is the Steve Austin Show.
What do you think the state of the business is right now?
I think it's at the beginning of a wrestling boom. It's not going to be like, I don't think it's going to be comparable to the one we went through, Steve, because I just think the landscape is too different. But I can't help but feel that, like, just because of, like, I'm out there, you know, and I feel the excitement that's getting picked up, and, you know, I honestly think a lot of it is the people that are frustrated with the WWE product. The ones that, you know, you're not going to please them no matter what. Maybe, I don't know. They just want to be the counterculture.
Right.
I don't know, almost like the punk rock mentality, and I think that's kind of fueling that whole the indie, you know, pro wrestling, like, renaissance. I don't know what you want to call it, but, you know, I mean, there's a lot of guys out there doing well right now. Maybe not getting rich, but
to me it seems like the roster's coming around on the main roster, and the NXT thing is very refreshing to me because I don't watch it on a regular basis, and I got a chance to watch, man, that tag match knock it out of the park, the two women knock it out of the park, Ricochet. That roster, man, that's a bunch of hungry cats really coming up. And when I look at the main roster, there's more guys over now within that system than there was before. So it seems like everybody's coming around, and I think it's the experience. I think it's a year or two or more has even passed, and the work is getting better. You can always improve, and there's always going to be some young guys.
Yeah.
It's a hurry-up system because, man, they're trying to get, you know, more and more talent up there, get ready for the big program, for the big show, and so it is what it is. But to me, now, some of the guys have been there, some of them for over 10 years, and then the other ones, you know, they're coming around going into year 5 and 6, and I still have my peccadillos about some of the telegraphing and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. But I think that goes along with the business speeding up, like they've sped up the game of baseball, football. They're trying to hurry up, you know, all this stuff. And it's short attention span. Theater, everybody's trying to, you know, put 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag more so than they used to. I don't know if you remember this back in the early 90s when we were going to do TV tapings in WCW. I don't know where you were at the time, but the way things worked back in, dude, we'd be at Center Stage or Anderson, South Carolina, or, you know, Dothan, Alabama, or any of those
Gainesville,
towns.
Georgia.
Yeah, any of those towns of about 100-mile striking distance in Atlanta. You go to TV, and the business was so simple back in, and you're a student of the history of the business. You know, back in the old days, you could lay in a headlock or a rear chin lock damn near all day. You could almost do that in the early 90s to a degree, but you only got, for the most part, the way WCW worked back when I was there, you got a 1-minute go-home cue. And that's why there was no really tremendous comebacks. By and large, I'm just not a blanket statement for most of the matches, unless guys are really thinking or were ahead of all the rest of the boys, which I wasn't. You got a minute go-home cue. Babyface started his comeback, and you went home. You can watch that shit. There was not nearly as many false finishes back in those days as there are in the last 10 to 15 years, but especially now.
No big Pat Patterson.
Oh, no.
15-minute finishes.
Don't get me wrong. You had Eddie Graham in Florida who was doing lights out stuff, but that might have been more house show oriented. But as far as the television product, my point is that's how simple it was back then. These days, and more power to the generations that have come since you and I have been out of the game for the most part, how everything has kind of evolved. And, dude, not even Ricochet. Well, Ricochet is probably, like I said the last week on my podcast, probably the best athlete I've ever seen in a ring.
Yeah.
But
hard to argue that.
A blanket statement, I think that the guys and girls, especially the girls, obviously, because there wasn't that many when you and me were around. Sensational Sherry, I mean,
Medusa. Yeah.
Oh, and then we had, you know, the generation of women that we were with. But man, the women are obviously way better athletes. But dude, the guys are so much more athletic than I was or Triple H was. Sean would be at the head of the class as well. Dude, you were a really good athlete. But no,
I was
the
all
athletic
right.
ability is higher now than it was from the 70s to the 80s. And when I say that, you always had your dynamite kids, people like that who were badasses and great athletes. But the athletic ability these days is they're much more well-rounded athletes than we were.
Do you think that it's because we're like the industry's attracting the more the world-class athletes from different sports now, or is it just the evolution of the human beings?
I think it's the evolution of human beings and the evolution of the business just getting a little bit more, I don't want to say acrobatic, but athletic is probably the best way I could say. Because, dude, back in the day, from your Dick the Bruiser days, Crusher, man, what are guys locking up, grabbing headlocks?
Yeah.
Send a guy in for a tackle, no one's going down.
Yeah.
You lock up, grab a headlock again. It's a whole different ball game.
Steve, I've been going back on YouTube, and somebody put up some early '80s TBS wrestling, the stuff Gordon Solie used to commentate on, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and then it turned into World Championship Wrestling. Man, I was watching some of that. I've been watching a lot of it, and it's real simple and all that, and there's a lot of walking and talking in there, but man, some of that stuff is great. Like Buzz Sawyer in his early days. Wow. I have you seen any of that stuff?
No, I don't know if I know exactly what you're talking about, but I remember.
It's just all the old shows.
Dude, but Buzz Sawyer was this was when, probably before the business got exposed. But dude, you thought Buzz Sawyer was a total shoot.
Yeah,
he was a mad dog.
Yeah. And
from the accounts that I've heard of, dude, brother wasn't all there.
No.
Well, he was all over the place because of certain things, but certainly a mad dog.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be flipping channels on TV and Buzz was on, and someone had told you wrestling was fake, you would see Buzz and go, "No, it ain't."
Yeah, not that one.
That son of a bitch is real.
Yeah. No, to me, I don't know what brought me down, why I brought that up, but his stuff looked as good as anyone's in the business to me at that time. It was crazy.
I thought he could have been a bigger star than he was.
Yeah.
But that's the maybe reliability or personal issues. Well, that dude was a little bit out there. I'm not speaking disparagingly.
No, it's pretty well known. Yeah.
Because, dude, he jacked a couple people for some money.
Yeah, Magnum. Yeah. Different people. I think Taker even.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He was a little bit out there. I was on my Twitter account the other day, and I had said that I think it was Ricochet and Adam Cole had ripped it up.
Yeah.
And then I got a response back, of one of these armchair quarterbacks saying, "GD, Steve, if they keep doing this, where's the business going? The business ain't going to be here in 15 years." I'm thinking to myself, dude,
what are you going to do?
I'm just commenting on, how badass and precise and athletic and psychologically what a great story these guys told. And here's some guy crawling up my ass about the business going to be gone in 15 years. Business ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's just going to be whatever it is.
This guy can go back on YouTube, and there's all those old Georgia Championship Wrestling shows on there now. He'll love it. I don't know, Steve. I'm one of these guys. Look, there are things about wrestling now, and there's certain things that I'm not a fan of. But I'd like to try to be more like Terry Funk than the bitter this shit nowadays, and these guys are killing the business. Terry was never like that. If he had a criticism for anything, he was real good about it, and he was uplifting to all the young guys, and he wanted to help, and he tried to evolve himself. He was doing acai moonsaults, when he's over 50 years old. So I'd like to be more like Terry Funk than the old bitter sour grapes, this shit nowadays guy.
But see, here's the thing. I just never understood when Terry started doing all the moonsaults and the death matches and stuff like that, because and Terry Funk is one of my all-time favorites, and if you're any kind of wrestling fan, everybody respects him. So here's a guy who was a traditional old-school wrestler.
Yep.
Well, he was second generation or third, because I know Dory Sr. wrestled, and then there was Terry and Dory Jr.,
And then there was Haas Funk.
But nonetheless, the Funk family is one of the great wrestling families. So
no, I didn't mean Haas Funk. I meant Jimmy Jack. Sorry.
Jack Funk. I was in Portland. Yeah, that one doesn't work. But my point is, dude, old school wrestler from, traditional values, and then at 50 plus starts going into the death matches.
Yeah.
I mean, because like me, that'd be like me if I decided to get back in the ring and I say, okay, well, I could wrestle, but piss on wrestling, I'm going to do the death match.
Yeah.
And start doing all the hardcore stuff. I mean, he started, beating the hell out of himself when everybody was saying, well, he's going to retire.
I think there are a lot of Terry Funk fans that's the only Terry Funk they know. They don't know that. They don't know that Terry Funk
I agree with you.
So, and somebody asked Terry one time, hey, how come you didn't do moonsaults back when he's like, they didn't have them back then.
Who invented the moonsault?
The first person I ever saw do it live was Muto. But I saw, first person I saw in the States do it was Muto. It was on Battle of the Belts too. He worked with Denny Brown.
But that's funny to hear. Said, why did you do moonsaults back in the day?
They didn't have them.
But that's a shoot.
That's a shoot.
But then he started doing them. Dude, I'll never forget I did a moonsault off the top of the cage in Madison Square Garden.
You did?
No, I'm lying.
Oh, man, you got me, dude. I swear to God. I'm like, whoa.
God dang, but one time, here's a shoot. I was doing a ringside commentary with, I guess, Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross, and Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle were working. And, dude, it's one of those things like you've been up close and personal in a lot of matches, but I mean, I'm talking about, matches that you're not in and not even standing there on the apron in a tag. But when you're just ringside doing commentary, or I've reffed a few matches, that kind of where you ain't thinking about shit, but you're just watching the match.
Yeah.
And, man, I'll never forget doing color commentary because I guess I was going to wrestle whoever won the match. I don't remember what the storyline was. The point is, I was watching Kurt and Chris do work, and, man, they were just having this ball buster of a match because Benoit was always a badass.
Yeah.
Legitimately tough, but just a tremendous worker inspired by one and only Dynamite Kid. And here comes Kurt Angle, gold medal Olympic wrestler who caught a hold of the business faster than anybody in history and turned into one of the greatest of all time.
Yep.
And those dudes are out there doing work, and then all of a sudden, Kurt goes to top for that friggin' moonsault, and, I guess Chris missed. I guess Chris moved or whatever, but my point is, man, when I was out there trying to do commentary, but I was so blown away by how badass the guys were in the ring and being able to sit there and focus and not have to worry about anything. Dude, it was such a treat. You remember that match?
I don't remember that, but I know how both of those guys are, like especially Chris. I haven't been in there with him and knowing how his style of work.
Who's the guy that you got into the ring with and like just kind of blew you away as far as, hey man, this dude just fucking good?
Ooh, wow. You mean that I didn't already realize was that good?
No, I'll give you for an example.
Yeah.
You know how competitive the boys are.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm watching pro football, baseball, or NBA, they'll ask, one of the top guys, whether it's LeBron or Kevin Durant or someone like that, and they'll put over their opponent, but not very much.
Gotcha.
Because that's how competitive it is. Dude, same thing with the pro wrestling business. That's the way I always took it. So, it's like when I was, see Sean, I was always in different federations. I was coming up in Dallas. I was in Tennessee. I was in Atlanta. He was in New York. I mean, he'd already been everywhere.
Yeah.
And he ended up in New York. He was Shawn Michaels, a Heartbreak Kid. And, you see how good he is. He's the number one rated guy. And back in, because the business is so competitive, you think, oh, man, dude's just a spot guy.
Yeah.
A spot guy. Yeah, high spots. Yeah, you take away all the high spots, he ain't shit. Boy, all of a sudden, I got a chance to work with Sean.
Yeah.
And you come to that Jesus meeting real quick.
Yes.
This ain't just a high spot guy.
Yeah.
This guy is awesome in every single facet of the game, from timing to lockup to psychology, execution, selling, fire, whatever it needed to be. The dude had that plus 100% more. So working with Sean, I already knew he was good, but I didn't want to admit it because, dude, we're not competing for the same job.
Right.
But it's a competitive business. I didn't really give that guy props until I got into the ring with him, and that's when I knew what time it was. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and I can honestly, this might sound silly, but Ric Flair.
Oh, definitely.
Because even though, okay, yeah, he's the greatest and all that, and it's just like, yeah, okay. Yeah, he's the greatest. And then you go, okay, now I know why he's the greatest.
Dude, we was going back to one of those little television tapings I was just telling you about, and I do believe it was Anderson, South Carolina. It was myself, Ric Flair, I think it was Arn. It was like a 6-man match. And back then, I was supposed to be the next Ric Flair, right?
Yeah.
I was more scientific wrestling, kind of like a chicken shit heel. Dude, all I was doing was copying Flair. I didn't have his moves. I didn't have the turnbuckle flip over. I wasn't getting, thrown off the top. I wasn't doing his moveset.
Yeah, but the template kind of,
I got labeled with being, and dude, no one ever wants to get labeled as the next anything.
That's right.
Especially
Kiss of
Ric
death.
Flair.
Kiss of death.
But that was the guy that had my crosshairs on.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm thinking, man, this guy's getting older, and he wasn't real old at the time, and I was probably 26 or 7. And I'm thinking, hey, man, this guy ain't shit. The bell rings, and we go out there, and it's a television taping, and Flair starts off the match, and he tagged either me in or Arn in, or I think he probably tagged in Arn. And dude, I'm sitting there on the apron watching this guy just do his, apply his trade.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yep. There's a reason everybody's talking about this cat being as good as he is, and that's why the legend of Ric Flair is what it is. Dude, when you're just sitting there with your thumb up your ass on that apron, watching the man do work, you don't want to be compared to that, because all of a sudden you tag in, it's like, well, what I do now?
Yeah,
Flair just tagged out. How am I going to top that shit?
Yeah, it's probably not actually.
How many tours did you work in Japan?
I don't know the exact. No, I'm going back in about a month for the first time in 16 years, by the way, but. Probably about maybe 20, something like that.
Did you ever get a chance to work with Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero?
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, because
really?
The same year that Vince hired me was the same year that New Japan hired me. Masa Saito, may he rest in peace. Yeah. He was an awesome individual. I love that guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, he brought me there for the Super Junior tournament, 93, which had Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Scorpio. Oh, Finlay. My first match in New Japan was with Finlay. It was great. Yeah, no, I worked with all those guys over there.
Hey, this is Adam Carolla from The Adam Carolla Show. Bet Online continues to be your #1 source for all your football betting action. Bet Online has more ways to get in and stay in on action, with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting. From every NFL and college game to MLB, UFC, and NHL, futures as well. BetOnline remains your choice for sports wagering info. Head to the website today and take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program, with level-up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. In between games, head over to BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline. The game starts here.
What were your thoughts in Japan when you got there? Because how long had you been working when you got there?
I've been working like 3-4 years.
So mechanically, you're pretty proficient.
Yes.
You probably thought you were better than you were.
Way better. I thought I was way better than I was.
So how was it when you went over there and it was kind of a different atmosphere than being in the States because of the way that the Japanese crowd watches the matches, also with respect to the work that was going on there? Because, dude, those guys working at a high level over there.
Yeah. Well, luckily, just, the things I did were pretty spectacular for the time.
Yep.
So that made up for lack of, any real direction in the match. It was kind of just, go out there, and I just kind of got my shit in and got to the finish, But so and when I first went over there, Steve, it wasn't your New Japan style company. It was Universal Pro, which was a Japanese lucha company. Like, they brought all the big name like lucha guys. That's where Asai, Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah.
That was his home company. Before he went to work for Tenryu. But it was a mix, kind of a hybrid lucha Japanese style.
Well, did you ever get into a situation where you had to follow a match because with your moveset, you could follow, like a Dean Malenko, Chris, or Eddie. But dude, when I went, this was my first extended tour, and it didn't help that it was a 3-week tour, and I tore my tricep off my elbow on the third day. So all of a sudden, we're out there in those first few shows, and on my first match over there, me and Arn had flown over from the United States on the same airplane. Ron Simmons was there, myself, Arn.
Mike Enos on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They did well over there.
Yeah.
Mike Enos did well.
Yeah, because actually when he got back from that, he told me he was over there with you, and he was just singing your praises like there was no tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool. But anyway, man,
sorry.
Me and Arn drank like fish on the way over there, and all of a sudden we go to our first television tape, and basically almost as soon as you check into the Keo Plaza, you're on a bus going to the show. God dang, dude, both of us blew sky high. It was hotter than blazes in that friggin' building, and I wasn't worth the shit. Of course, dude, I'd been working for 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
I didn't really know how to officially get over, whereas Arn had probably already been a 10-year veteran. And, dude, much more polished, much more seasoned, much more better at the presentation part, and there's a difference. So, Arn got over. I was just trying to hustle along. But anyway, we got to some of those house shows over there, and whether it was Malenko working with Benoit Guerrero or any combination of those two, and I'd be out there watching every single match, and I'm sitting there in the back thinking, dude, how in the shit am I ever going to follow these guys? Because I can't do that. And it wasn't like Dean wasn't a guy that took a bunch of crazy bumps.
No.
Dean was just Mr. Scientific, man of 1,000 holes, whatever his gimmick was. Benoit was just super intense, also could do a bunch of stuff off the top rope. Eddie, a master of everything, especially the subtleties and the nuances. But when any of those combinations tied together, their chemistry was so off the charts. Here's how you follow a match like that. You don't.
Yeah.
They just did their shit.
Yeah.
So you go out there, whatever, as limited as I was back then, well, I never had a big moveset anyway, but my key was just to be stunning Steve Austin, or I would have loved to go to Stone Cold. Never did. But you just got to stick to your wheelhouse. But until you figure it out, and it can't take you long to figure it out, but you better.
Yeah.
And go out there and just do your shit, because you ain't going to follow none of the guys that I just mentioned.
Right. Kind of like Kari Sane and Shayna Baszler went out there and they didn't try to follow it doing the same. I mean, yeah. And Steve, I've never gone to Japan and not blown up on the first night. Like blown.
Something about it.
Yes. It's the jet lag. It's something. And even the second night, it's a little bit of a problem. The third night, usually I start. If I'm in singles matches, it's an issue. Like I can figure it out in a tag match.
Dude, did you ever go over there and just get your clock clean? Because the deal was back in the day. He said, "Hey man, they tell you lay your shit in. Or these guys are going to take you to town."
Yeah.
And dude, I never got stiffed or strong armed by anybody. I never got tested by anybody.
Yeah.
But we was working with Hiroshi Hase. What's the name?
Hirohase?
Yeah, Hirohase.
One of the best they ever had over there.
Who's that? Kensuke Sasaki?
Kensuke Sasaki, Hashimoto, guys like that.
All those guys.
Yeah.
And, the top guys work.
Yeah.
The
Chono.
young to that mid, they're out there beating the trash out of each other. So it was funny. After I tore my tricep, that one night, a guy moved out of my way. He was supposed to. My arm bent too far up underneath me. So he started putting me in a lot of tags and six-mans to help me out.
Yeah.
Dude, back in the day, when you tore your tricep off your arm, you didn't go home.
Yeah.
You wrestled every single night.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget sitting on that damn turnbuckle, sitting on the apron, standing on the apron with Arn Anderson as Ron Simmons tagged in. And Ron Simmons went in there, and, dude, he was slingshotting, sending those guys in. Whatever he was calling, they were doing.
Yeah.
And those guys' eyes were this big. And Arn just looked at me and goes, God damn. He goes, I'm glad I'm not on the other side with that other team. Ron was lighting everybody up. But I never.
Not hurting him.
No, not hurting him. But, everybody knew that Ron was the man. Don't mess with Ron. But I never had to work strong style because as much as I'd heard about it, none of those guys ever tried to stiff me.
Because, yeah, those guys don't work like that. That's a big misnomer. Like you said, those younger guys, and I think it might have something to do with once the people care about you and they're making that much noise in your match, you don't have to pull all that stuff out, right? Like, you don't have to kill each other. The occasional well-placed potato, might, I never minded it, but like when people are making that much noise, like I think, a lot of times, well, for me, I remember, like when the crowd would be silent, like I would get kind of like panicky, frantic.
Hey, we lost him.
Yeah. And then you try to do whatever. You start hurting each other or,
And I was watching I get on YouTube almost every single night, and I'll either watch music or old matches. And I still go back and I watch a lot of stuff that Stan Hansen did and Bruiser Brody. And when they're working with a lot of guys, they're beating the shit out of those guys. I mean, they're laying, and they were the kings.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, man, it was Stan Hansen and Brody versus Terry and Dory.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, there was so much respect there.
I saw that.
Those guys have been down the road so many times together. But everything looked good, but it looked like even a more professional product because they weren't beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
So it actually looked better. But, man, dude, the whole climate changed because the shit was still on. It was Hansen and Brody, who damn near owned Japan, and the Funks, who were, I dare say, right at that same
there.
level.
Yeah.
Especially respect-wise at the very same level. But Hansen and Brody were such a force. I think they had a little bit of the upper hand. But, dude, when you go back and watch, those matches are nothing but pure badass work.
It might have something to do with, like, okay, when Hansen and Brody are working with the Japanese guys, there's a little bit of a language barrier, maybe, and they feel like they got to go out there and fight for it more. Whereas, like, when you're working with the other guys, like, we're trying to work for the match. I think there's different mentality. Like in Mexico, there's a different mentality down there, Steve. Like, you know how we have this just thing, like, okay, we're going to work for the match. Like, I'll go into the match like trying to figure out how I can make my opponent look good, coming up with stuff, thinking of what their signature moves are and trying to come up with cool stuff for that. And they're doing the same for me. Down in Mexico, maybe in Japan, I think the mentality is me. Like, right. What can I do to make me look good?
Right.
And I think it matters.
I've been talking about Bruiser Brody. I got to give a shout out real quick to Blue Meanie. Brian Heffern just sent me a documentary of Bruiser Brody. I've been talking about Brody on the podcast every here and there, and he just sent me a documentary on Brody because I didn't think there was ever one made on him. So I got to check that out. So, Meanie, I appreciate you sending the Bruiser Brody documentary to me. You'll hear about it here on the podcast here. And
it's new, right?
I guess it's new.
Yeah.
I guess it's new, dude. I was just listening to. I get on, like I said, I get on YouTube a lot, and I just listen to Tony Atlas retell that story about him dying. Listen to Dutch tell that story. Did you ever go to Puerto Rico?
I did.
Did you like it?
Sometimes. Sometimes. Like there was a couple times where, like, if I ever have to ask for my money, I don't like it.
Well, dude.
And then one time, so then the one time when I did have to sit there at the end of the night, wait to ask for my money, I got that guy coming in and asking me if he could talk to me in the shower, like it's some kind of a goddamn joke.
Oh.
And I'm like, we can go in the shower as long as I'm going to get my money.
Yeah.
Like, is this supposed to be funny or something? Because, I mean, I'm not particularly concerned. It's just stupid.
Asking for your money in Puerto Rico in a shower is a little bit different than going to PWG and asking for your money in a dressing room.
Right.
And I'm giving a shout out to PWG. I'm just trying to give for instance.
Yeah.
It can be pretty intimidating over there.
Yeah, sure.
Dude, because, you're in no man's land.
Yeah.
You ain't in America.
And
all of a sudden, dude, the climate over there is pretty damn tough.
Yeah, so you want me to tell you a real quick story about my last experience here?
I'd love to hear a story about your last experience.
Yeah, I got a call, and I can't even remember who the promotion was. There's different little things pop up here and there. Somebody with money also wants to be a promoter. So it was down there, and Road Dogg couldn't make the show. And, like, it was like a buddy system. Hey, can you help replace me? So not only was the money, like, not what I wanted the money to be, I was like, fine, I'll go do it, but I'm getting my money before I put my gear on. Okay, no problem. I get down there, and Billy's down there. I'm teaming with Billy. And come time for the show, then get close to the match, you go, amigo, like the match is coming up. Where's my money? Oh, we'll get after at the club. I said, no, ain't happening. I'm not putting my gear on until I get my money. And there was a big to-do over it. Yeah, and they were pissed. And I got my money, and there was 1s, 5s, you know, like, because I looked went out the door, you know, into the crowd, and there was none.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I don't get this money, might not ever get it. Yeah. And I got it. But I was really happy that Billy was there with me. Let's just put it that way.
Billy's great to have as back up because Billy can hurt you just by shaking your hand.
That's right.
That big brick-handed sorry bastard. I know he listens to the podcast. Yeah. I always look forward to shaking his hand because we've had this feud going for years and years just with the handshake, and we used to travel together. Did you hear the story when I jumped on his ass in New Orleans?
What do you mean you jumped on him?
Man, me and Billy, we used to travel together, and he was one of the greatest traveling partners I ever had. Every time, you know, if he was getting to rent a car, he'd show up, and there'd be a pack of Levi Garrett, a red man, on the seat with a bottle of water. And he'd always have some good country music CDs going. And so we'd be riding down the road. And you ever remember going to New Orleans and going to the daiquiri hut?
No.
All the boys used to go to the daiquiri hut, and I think those drinks had a little bit more than whatever they make daiquiris with, but they were pretty stout. Mm-hmm. So we go to New Orleans, we wrestle. I can't remember the name of the building, and there ain't a hotel room in sight. That whole friggin' town is booked. Somehow, some way, we'd been at a daiquiri hunt, we're shit-faced, we find a damn hotel. It's the last hotel room in town, and it's a big-ass room. Almost probably a little bit bigger than this area we're in right now. This is a big-ass apartment. And then there's a bedroom over there. And so, man, all of a sudden, we opened the door. We'd put our gear up already. And I had my gold necklace on that Brian Pillman had given me.
Yeah.
And, man, as soon as Billy opened that door, I jumped on his back. We started wrestling around. Dude, this is a damn near shoot. Now I was working.
Yeah.
Billy, of course, was trying to shoot with
me.
And that sorry son of a bitch ended up getting me in a big side headlock.
Uh-huh.
People think a side headlock is a work move. Horror shit. Not when Billy Gunn has your head squashed like a grape up against his goddamn ribs. And so finally I said, all right, God dang it. I said, shit, enough. I said, he goes, you done? I said, yeah, man, I'm done. So he let me go. Jumped right back on his ass.
Yeah.
Beating the shit out of him for a little bit, and sure enough, he grabbed me in that side headlock again. He goes, God damn it. He goes, I'm tired of this. Blown up, tired, drunk, already been working on the loop. And he goes, are you done? I said, yeah. He goes, you swear on your kids? I said, yeah. So he let me go. I jumped back on him again.
Damn.
He goes, I thought you swore on your kids. I said, I got a billy goat. Like a kid.
Yeah.
Billy goat.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, I jumped on his ass again. Anyway, long story short, we finally stopped wrestling and shit like that. We go to the shop the next day, and I'm in a dressing room. I'm like, I'm grabbing my neck. Dude, you ever wore jewelry and all of a sudden you're trying to find your shit and it ain't on? You keep grabbing your neck. Man, that's my favorite necklace in the world.
Yeah.
Turns out we had lost it. During all the roughhousing, it had fallen behind one of the Chester drawers gimmicks, whatever you call it, there in the hotel room. And hell, I thought one of the damn people that cleaned up the hotel or had stole it or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure enough, we were back at the hotel the same night and ended up finding my gold necklace behind the gimmick after I'd raised a bunch of hell.
Oh, man.
The moral to the story is if you're traveling with Billy Gunn, don't fuck with him.
Right.
Leave him alone.
Yeah.
But that's just been, I drew a long story. I beat it.
Those takedown tournaments in the drunk takedown tournaments used to happen all the time, Steve.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember in San Francisco at one time, it was like my first road trip in. No, it wasn't my first one because Scott Levy had been in. No, it was my first one because we started together. Anyways, it was Kurt, Lex, Scott Hall. Like, I remember Scott Hall came up behind Lex, and Lex just accidentally threw Scott into a bed of rocks or something. Scott's like, and it was Kurt going behind Nash, taking Nash down. It was just all just a big drunken mess. And it happened all the time. It was like a bunch of big kids.
But it was the thing that's like, God dang, man, we was riding up and down the road back in the day, and it's like, You just do stupid shit to entertain yourselves.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen. I mean, we were always messed up when we did that. It was never.
Oh yeah, dude, I was blasted out of my gourd.
It's the only reason didn't get hurt.
Yeah, if I'd have been stone cold sober, I'd never would have jumped on Billy Gunn's ass.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, I'm gonna jump out and get back on the mean streets of Los Angeles because I told my wife that I would take her to a certain destination tonight where they have a pretty good margarita. But I'm going to make a case that my margarita is so good right now, I might not even need to leave the house. So,
your margarita game's on point right now,
dude. I probably got the best margarita in the United States of America. As a matter of fact, Forbes, the magazine, you heard of Forbes, right? They wanted to interview me about my margarita mix.
Is this another you doing a moonsault story?
Hey, where can people find you and listen to your podcast? Because the X-Pac 1-2-360 show is kicking ass, and I know you've got a great guest coming up this Tuesday.
Yeah, I just don't know who it is yet.
Me and Sean were talking before we went on air. I've been doing this so long, and Sean, how long you been doing this now?
2 years. I just had my 100th episode.
Congrats.
Thanks.
But it's almost like you feel like you're inconveniencing one of your friends to be on your show, and sometimes I feel like that, and I feel like, I could ask anybody in the world, but I just kind of don't ask anybody because I don't want to put anybody out.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. But you can always ask me. I'm always happy to talk about wrestling.
Oh, I know.
With you,
You still enjoying it?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Where can people find you at? And then what's another wrestling gig or anything you got coming up as far as appearances? How about the podcast first?
It's on We're at Westwood 1 now, and you can just find it on all the apps that people go, pretty much all of them, that people go find their podcasts on. We're still with AfterBuzz TV for the video. However, I have I just started my own separate YouTube channel, and it's youtube.com/X-Pac. And all the shows are going to live on there from now on. And all the interviews from the old shows are on there. They're up on my new YouTube channel. And there's going to be some other stuff I'm going to be putting on there, too.
YouTube has been around for a long time, man.
Yeah.
It's starting to turn into the wave of the future, man. Everybody's on YouTube.
Yeah, right now. I mean, there's probably some other things that are probably the cutting edge thing to get onto, but I'm not sure what they are yet.
Yeah, but YouTube's just easy to do.
Easy, yeah.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
My wife gets pissed off at me because she goes to sleep way earlier than I do. So I'll be sitting there in bed if it's wrestling, watching musicians or whatever, and I watch the same shit over and over again, and she'll get out of bed, maybe go to the bathroom, or just wake up because I'm making too much noise, and she'll kind of mumble, "Are you watching that again?" And then I'll get up in the morning, and she goes, "Were you watching that video again?" And I say, "Yeah." Dude, here, I'll give you one. You ever heard of that band called the Silvers?
The Silvers.
They were around back in the 70s. Hotline.
Yeah.
No, but dude, I watched the Silvers Hotline video. I didn't Boogie Fever after that, but I watched that video damn near every single night.
What's up with that?
Dude, I just love that song. They were just epic performers.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Why do you watch that every single night?" I don't know. I dig that performance. And there's a lot of other shit I watch as well. But I watch the same shit over and over again, the same matches. I still got the Arn and Ole against the Rock and Roll Express that I watch damn near every night. Dusty and Man with the Hands of Stone.
Ronnie Garvin?
Yeah. Against Flair and Arn. So I just got I think that's happening out of Greensboro as well. Anyway, that's all the stupid shit that I'm watching on YouTube.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great. I like it.
Oh, that reminds me. Kevin Undergaro and I, we put a few, we're doing this show. We just putting them in the can right now. It's Wrestling Rabbit Hole. And it's just picking a subject and then going YouTube rabbit hole and just doing Mystery Science Theater, commentary over it, explaining some things, just the things that I know about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we did Haystacks Calhoun, and I forget who else we did. But anyways, it's all old school people right now.
Dude, thanks for having me over at your crib and doing the show.
I'm always happy to come on the show, Steve.
We're out. All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off in the sunset. Before I do that, I want to thank Sean Waltman for being my guest on the show and allowing me to come over to his crib and shoot the breeze with him. I know he was dead dog tired from going to Chicago, Illinois, and I had a good time seeing him. Traffic was a bitch, though. No, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But anyway, like I said, packing up, getting ready to head over to Nevada for my antelope hunt. Ted Fowler is joining us on the podcast for Thursday. You guys have emailed me a bunch of topics and questions for Ted Fowler 361, and we will see what the topic of discussion ends up being. And I will also continue to tweak and work on my margarita formula, and we'll release that as soon as I perfect it, because I am close, oh so close, to getting this son of a bitch ready. Hey man, ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin has all my Broken Skull Ranch shit. I need to come up with some Nevada designs and just have not done so yet, but I am. And I was talking to Rob Croxall down there at El Segundo Brewing Company. They just finished last weekend a brand new batch of Broken Skull IPA. So stop by the brewery, get some right out of the tap, or you can find it at Whole Foods and Total Wines if you're in Southern California. If you ain't in that region, you're shit out of luck, and you're missing out on the best damn IPA in the United States of America, and that is the absolute truth, and that's the bottom line. I'm proud of this last batch. It is absolutely off the charts. Go by the brewery, 140 Main Street in El Segundo, and get yourself some. Hey, man, if you're looking to get a badass pocket knife, I got two of them for your ass. The Cold Steel Broken Skull knife and a new Cold Steel Working Man's knife, both at my new Amazon store. Just go to Amazon.com/shop/Steve Austin, or go to Cold Steel Knives website and check out all the badass knives. I want to say a big thank you to all the fine sponsors of the Steve Austin Show. That's how I'm able to do this podcast for you twice a week for free. Please support them because they support us. And if you need more info on my sponsors, check out the show description to this episode for details. Folks, I am on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Steve Austin BSR. And until next time, my name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
This November, action is free on Pluto TV. Go on the run with Jack Reacher.
Every suspect was a trained killer.
Then buckle up for Drive, World War Z.
Every human being we save is one less fight.
And Charlie's Angels.
Damn, I hate to fly.
Launch into sci-fi adventure with The Fifth Element and laugh through the mayhem in Tropic Thunder.
What is going on here?
All the thrills, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.